Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Hamza Idris. Nigeria has an estimated 9,041,000 hectares of forest reserve, according to the Food Agriculture Organization, FAO. It also had 382,000 hectares of planted forest. The nation had a change in forest cover between 1990 and 2010, with a loss of an average of 409,650 hectares or 2.38% per year. In total, between 1990 and 2010, Nigeria lost 47.5% of its forest cover, or around 8,193,000 hectares. Nigeria's forest reserve is currently facing challenges such as soil degradation, rapid deforestation, urban air and water pollution, desertification, oil pollution, water, air and soil. It has also suffered serious damage from oil spills, loss of arable land, among other challenges. Aside these, non-state actors such as bandits and other terrorist groups, according to the Conservator General National Park Service, Dr. Ibrahim Goni, are currently occupying 1,129 square meters of forest reserves and national parks in the country, which they use as hideouts, making it difficult for the service to effectively meet its set objective, which is to protect and conserve the biodiversity in the designated areas. It is against this backdrop and the forthcoming World Forest Day celebration, we will be engaging with Ifeanyi Chukwudi. He is the Senior Program Manager, Development, CJID, that is Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development. Together, we'll be looking at the forest prospects and challenges in harnessing and conserving the nation's vast forest potential for national development. Chukwudi, welcome to the program and happy World Forest Day.
Thank you very much, sir. Happy to be here.
Good. I will take a short break. When we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Yes, once again, welcome back to the program. Maybe I should start with asking why Center for Journalism Innovation is interested in World Forest Day, which will be marked by His Grace tomorrow.
Okay, so the International Day of Forest is commemorated every 21st of March, and it's part of efforts to raise awareness about the importance of forests and trees in our ecosystem, and the role that forests play, their contribution to sustainable development. So the International Day of Forest is also commemorated to raise awareness about the various threats, to forests, which include illegal logging, deforestation, climate change, and the like. Just as you've read out, our forest reserves are facing numerous challenges. So this is why we commemorate this day, and also to urge policymakers, to urge government stakeholders, to urge civil society actors and the citizens, to contribute their quota to preserving our forests and preserving our planet.
Maybe in Nigeria, of course, every other day, as far as United Nations is concerned, 365 days, there is something attached to that day. In fact, in certain days, you have 2 or more events being, celebrated worldwide. Yes. In other climes, you see forests being treated as a child. I mean, every other person see forest as his personal project. Mm-hmm. Why is it different with countries like Nigeria or many others in Africa?
Well, it's basically about values, right? What we put value on, we protect. What we don't value, we don't protect. So I would say that there is that gap in our value for the environment, in our consideration for practices that enable our environment to thrive. So that we have a lot of work to do in raising awareness about the importance of forests, about the importance of the environment, and how everyone has a role to play in ensuring that our environment is green, that our planet is safe. So that value has to come into play, and that's why we commemorate this day, to raise awareness, to educate people about the importance of forests, the importance of trees, and what role they have to play in that.
And how scary, if we are losing an average of 409,650 hectares, or 2.3% per year. Mm-hmm. If you take 10 years meaning almost 20% or more.
Yeah.
How tough will it be if this trend is not reversed?
So it's unimaginable. It's unimaginable. We have out of 36 states, about 11 plus states are faced with this threat of drought and
At present,
desertification.
maybe I can call Borno, for instance.
Oh, definitely Borno,
Maybe Yobe, Adamawa.
Bauchi, there are a couple, mostly northern states, are at risk of this threat, and it upends, various spheres of society. It has economic implications. It has social implications. Families will be displaced. Farmlands will be displaced. Farmers will lose their source of livelihood. So the threats are multidimensional. And if we don't take immediate steps to mitigate these issues, we would find ourselves in a very delicate situation in the next coming years.
Is it that because northern states are, of course, facing the Sahara Desert, that they are more prone to the challenges of this desertification and deforestation compared to maybe states in the Niger Delta or even southeast to some extent?
Yes, indeed. Well, all areas, all regions in the country are actually
they are
faced with this threat, but it's more significant in the north, particularly because of the geographical peculiarities and nuances around the north. So there's need for more action, particularly in the northern region of Nigeria.
Now, what are the factors precipitating the encroachment of desert? What are some of the factors?
So climate change is one. We have rising temperatures, record-breaking heat, and this affects farmlands. It affects vegetation. So the worsening climate change crisis is driving drought, is driving desertification, and we also see it manifest in various facets. We see security challenges that are coming out of it. So we see people, due to their source of livelihoods, having to move, having to encroach. So all of these issues are built around climate change and the worsening climate crisis.
Then attitude, because if you now check, maybe I can bet my pen that maybe many governors, unless they are reminded, they are not aware that tomorrow is going to be World Forest Day. So is there a disconnect between our political leaders and the reality on ground? And that is why maybe we're having issues?
Well, there are definitely, like you said, every other day there is one international commemoration or the other. So there's that propensity to maybe forget or skip one. And also, of course, if we talk about politics, International Day of Forests is not a very political, commemoration of that sort. So I would say that there's a tendency to overlook days like this, and that gap is what we need to bridge. And at CGID, what we're doing, we're engaging government stakeholders, we're engaging civil society actors, we're engaging citizens, we're engaging students. We go to schools to ensure that we reach every sphere of society, we reach every demography, because all hands must be on deck to solve the challenge.
We were actually scary, you understand, to bring financial issues in the conversation, in the introductory part, because it is mind-boggling. If you look at what is being earmarked by states every year, by the federal government, by international donors, to say, okay, we're going to plant 1 million. If you Google now, you just see it. If you take any state, I say, okay, afforestation in social state, if you see the money earmarked for that and what is on ground, you just faint, because you cannot imagine the level of maybe corruption in that. Why is it difficult in this part of the world to plant and sustain trees?
Oh, well, first of all, like I said, the mismatch in values, right? If we do not see the value in these activities, if we do not see the pressing need to engage in these activities, we will not do that. And if we see, money earmarked for this, we probably see it as something that's not very consequential, and so the money can be diverted for other means, But the monies that we're putting into this challenge has to go there, right? We don't even have enough. More funding needs to go in into it, more financing needs to go into it. Where we have problem is where these funds are diverted for other means, right? And that's why we leverage various strategies to ensure that, we get soldiers on the ground who actually do the work. At CGID, we've planted, a lot of trees. We have other CSOs who are also engaging in various tree planting campaigns. So there are various strategies to ensure that we manage the corruption, we manage the misappropriation of funds that should be appropriated for environmental challenges like this.
Yes, years back, the federal government in Nigeria, planned to have a shelter belt, I think, right from Sokoto, passing all the contiguous states that are desert prone up to Maiduguri. Here, in Daily Trust, we have done quite a number of stories to bring out the malady around that. That project has not seen the light of the day. Of course, it was launched with pomp and pageantry. Where is the problem? I don't know whether you carried a study at CJID in respect to this, or what do you think is actually the problem?
So it's first is a very commendable initiative, all right? So if properly implemented, can help to mitigate some of the challenges that we have. But the problem always, especially with government, is the problem of implementation.
Yes.
So we have great ideas, we have great plans, great action plans, great timelines, but when it comes to implementation, there are various factors that come into play, that makes sure that this doesn't happen as planned. So I can't speak exactly as to what the status is on that project, but we just know that it hasn't come to fruition yet. And we're still commissioning stories, sending journalists out there.
Yes, I know at the of course
out,
the other arm of your that is the perimeter. Just like here in Delhi, we keep our eyes on that. Now, a layman believes that it's easier for him to just walk to the forest, cut tree, bring it, reduce it to firewood, have food to eat. And if you tell him that you are actually digging your grave by doing it, he will look at you with strange eyes. Is it that people are not being enlightened about the dangers of attacking the forest left, right, and center?
So that's a very important point, and it's a hydra-headed challenge, right? Because we see that in various regions of this country, that there's poverty, there's widespread poverty. So people look to various means to try to sustain themselves. So we see people in various states who go into forests, who cut down trees, they sell firewood. That's how they earn their living.
And they do charcoal.
Exactly. So, but it's a challenge because you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. By trying to do that to sustain yourself, you're creating a greater challenge. But these people can't see it that way because they are blinded by their poverty. They are blinded by the challenges, their immediate challenges. So that's why we have to do a lot of work to raise awareness. We have to do a lot of work to educate the people that there are other means to meet your needs that should not involve harming the environment. So and again, the government has to take intentional steps to ensure that they alleviate the challenges of the people so that they don't have to resort to activities like this.
Exactly, alleviating the hardship, because we have conducted quite a number of interviews, and to some extent the awareness is there. People know the implication of cutting down trees, but if you talk to them, they say, okay, give us an option. If government said, okay, gas, right?
Yeah.
Now, is it affordable? So it's actually two-way. Yeah. How do you think government will maybe push and make gas affordable? Because if people have access to gas, definitely it's cleaner, it's easier to use, and more affordable to sell. Because people now count the pieces of firewood they sell. If you go to Gwarimpa, if you go to other places, they count them in pieces. Then you pay. It's very expensive also. Yeah. So what role should government do to actually make the alternative, means of cooking affordable to the citizens?
Okay, so first I will start with there has to be sanctions for those activities, right? I'm coming.
Okay.
Right. So
I wanted to challenge.
if we say you can't go into the forest and cut down a tree, we have to mean it, right? The fact that there's hardship, it does not give you the right to commit a crime.
But you have right to eat, right?
Yes, but you have right to eat, but you don't have rights to go against the law. If there's a law that says you can't go and cut down the tree, you can't do that.
But Chukwudi, laws are actually meant to make life easier for people. If you make punitive measures that would drive people to doldrums, how do you reconcile?
Well, what I'm saying is the fact that I'm hungry does not give me the right to steal.
Yes.
Right? I'm not justified to steal from someone because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to ensure that people know that your hunger, your poverty does not give you the right to commit a crime. Right? So when we do that, we strengthen our laws, we strengthen enforcement, we strengthen sanctions for the negative behavior. That's on one hand. On the other hand, government has to take intentional steps to provide alternative options, right? And we can do that by exploring opportunities for sustainable energy, right? There's a lot of options that government can explore, and we have to incentivize partners, we have to incentivize international donors, we have to incentivize private sector actors to come into these sectors, if it has to be by tax breaks, if it has to be by subsidies, to make sure that people can come in with renewable energy solutions that provide clean cooking, right? Clean cook stoves that are affordable, that provides an alternative from using firewood and the rest of that. So if on one hand we strengthen alternatives, we provide more alternative sources, we make it cheaper, we incentivize investments, we make these sectors attractive for private sector players to go in and democratize access to sustainable energy. Then on the other hand, we have to strengthen our laws, we have to strengthen enforcement, because there are people who just will not take the alternatives. People want the easy way out. So these are two things that we have to balance.
And when you look at it, the facts are there. If you aggregate the quantum of firewood, the poor Nigerians are getting, and then put it side by side with the commercial activities being carried out in the forest.
Yeah.
The high-priced wood for exotic furniture and all that is being taken out by foreigners in collaboration with homegrown collaborators.
Yeah.
You see that the poor man is actually not even harming, I'm sorry to use this word, not even harming the forest. Because if you look at the percentage, why are the laws more severe to the poor, while those who are making billions of dollars from forest resources are being looked at? They cut the trees, package them, put them in containers, take them to the ports, register them, and then they now ship them out of the country.
So you make a very important point. And I think that if there are laws, if there are sanctions, it has to cut across board. It has to apply to everyone. So we live in a society where it's easy to befriend the rich. It's easy to overlook the sins of the rich and penalize the sins of the poor. So we have to ensure that we build a society that is equal. A society that treats all men the same. So while we put in our strategies to ensure that this works, we have to ensure that our laws apply to everyone. It applies across board.
Yeah, and then how is it done in other countries? I read it somewhere, I think about a month or thereabout, like was it in Kenya? Within a very short period, they were able to plant millions, I forgot the figure, millions of trees. But it's not a one-off thing.
Yeah.
Of course, it came with all the variables, from the processing of the land, planting, how it will be sustained during rainy season, how it will be sustained during dry season, and all that. How are they doing it? I'm sure you must have carried a study, since you are actually advocating for similar initiative in Nigeria.
Well, so you just have to bring everyone to the drawing board. All actors have to be involved. And places that we've seen that have, recorded remarkable success in this, ensure that both government, both civil society, both the youths, both communities play an active role. Right, so in our forestation efforts, we have to bring in the communities. Communities have to be involved in the tree planting. Communities have to be involved in safeguarding, the forests. So governments have to implement through their agencies, but civil society have a role to play. So by democratizing access, by bringing CSOs on board, by bringing communities on board, you're able to achieve the results in a faster way.
Yes.
So it has to be multi-sectoral approach and collaboration.
But then you have to tell people the benefits, right?
Yes.
What are the benefits if they key into the process of maybe having more forests around?
So there's a lot of benefits. One is carbon sequestration. So
carbon sequestration. That's highly technical
okay,
for our viewers. Yes.
So I'll explain.
Okay.
So forests serve as carbon sinks. That trap carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. So when we have lots of forests, when we have trees, these trees trap the carbon dioxide and helps to balance the atmosphere, balance the temperature, balance the climate. So this is one good use and importance of having forests. Another is erosion control and soil fertility. By having trees in forests help to put the soil together to mitigate against erosion with water.
Like now in Southeast, it
Exactly.
is actually eating deep into societies, villages and all that.
Yeah, but having forests helps mitigate against erosion, and also the leaves that fall off from the trees, they all contribute to the organic, nourishment of the soil that also enhances agricultural productivity. So there's a lot of benefits to having forests. We just need people to see it and put a value on it.
Now, on the flip side, in Nigeria, you see forest is seen now as actually an albatross, going by the fact that a lot of our forests have been taken over by bandits, by terrorists. So if you now tell our viewers that convert some of your unused farmlands to forest, or say, okay, you want us to now open a platform for bandits to take over and kill us. Is it not an irony that forest, to greater extent, is now a curse to Nigerians? Because I quoted it, the Conservator General, where he was saying, National Parks have Dr. Ibrahim Goni. He said they are currently occupying 1,129 square meters of forest reserves and national parks in the country, which they use as hideouts. And you are here encouraging people to create more forests.
So we can't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Okay.
So we know and we're monitoring this, that forests have become serious hideouts for terrorists, for bandits. It serves as a base for them to launch their attacks. We see that across the country. But there are various strategies that can be adopted to ensure that we address the security challenge while also preserving our forest. So we can't say because there's security, there's rising insecurity, we can now take down all the forests.
Because honestly, I don't want to quote a name. A certain governor says, that he's going to clear the forests in his domain, clear everything, because that is the only way to fish out the terrorists. Is that not throwing the baby with the bathwater?
Yes, it is, and there are a lot of counterinsurgency measures that are counterproductive. So there's a strategic approach to that, right? So the government can take a strategic approach to felling the trees, just to ensure that your counterinsurgency measures are also working, but we cannot say that we have to eliminate all the forests because of the rising insecurity. So we can step up our surveillance, we can step up the use of technology, we can step up the use of monitoring devices to find out these hideouts,
how safe,
and increase our response attack. If we increase our response to these security challenges, we can stamp out these insurgents without harming our environment. So I'm just saying we have to take a balanced approach to it. We just have to ensure that while we do one, we don't create another problem by solving one.
But then forests are being cut out, even in US, even in UK, European countries, in Asia, because you need the trees for other purposes. How are they replenishing them? Is it actually a deliberate way to?
Yeah. So everything can happen as long as it is planned, right? Of course, you cut down, but you have to be putting back, right? So there countries have forest reserves. They have areas that are earmarked, that we can't urbanize this place. This place has to be kept green, so there just has to be a balance, right? If we're cutting down here because it's necessary to do so, we have to be planting here. That's why we encourage tree planting campaigns. We encourage state governments to plant trees massively, just to ensure that we balance out the equation.
Yes, and as I said, now in Nigeria, what do you think must be done in the interim? Because even in Abuja now, in the master plan, you see green areas. I don't have the percentage, but large swaths have been taken over now by companies, by houses, and what have you.
Yeah.
So if Abuja cannot get it right, how do you expect Borno to get it right, or Sokoto, or Bayelsa, or Enugu to get it right?
Well, so I mentioned earlier a problem of implementation that we have. So the problem, the issue I find with our government most times, we have good policies, right? We have policies in place, we have documents, we have committees, we have departments, that are charged with addressing this issue. But most times we fail at implementation. So the government has to strengthen the policies we have. We have to strengthen those legal frameworks, those institutional frameworks. The departments that should be overseeing these issues have to be strengthened. If there are capacity deficits, they have to be breached. So we have to ensure that on the legal, institutional side of it, we strengthen those frameworks, we strengthen the policies, we strengthen implementation of those policies. And because it has to keep evolving, right? It has to keep evolving. If we say this area is a green area, it has to remain green, right? Whether the person is a politician, the person is an elite, it has to remain green, right? So if we strengthen our implementation, if we strengthen the enforcement of the policies and laws that we have, we stand a good chance. But if we don't, we will keep running around this sector.
Are there specific trees, that are maybe easy going, easy to handle, easy to adapt to various communities that you think communities can grab and then nurture without much ado?
Oh well, definitely there are, but I can't.
Yeah, because that's not your area.
I can't give you the name of
maybe name. I don't know.
So there are people who are experts at this who can give you the particular trees, but there are, that we encourage people to plant. But all the same, depending on the environment, depending on where you have to plant the trees, it determines the kind of trees you can plant in those areas. But generally, all sorts of trees we encourage. People to plant trees, both trees that bear fruits, both trees that are economic trees, and so on and so forth.
What role do you think maybe civil society will play in harnessing the abundant forest resources that we have?
Okay, first we can play a role in advocacy, just as we have tomorrow the International Day of Forest. Civil society actors, I'm sure there are a lot of organizations that will be out there tomorrow with different campaigns, both in radio stations and TV stations, out there in the streets. We have to take advocacy up a notch to ensure that we're educating the public about the importance of this, that we're sensitizing people, that we're driving awareness about this. Two is that civil society organizations, we need to strengthen our partnerships and collaborations, right? We have to partner civil society organizations to civil society organizations have to collaborate. We have to collaborate with the government to provide whatever technical support we need to develop the policies that we need, provide technical support to build the capacity of government to implement the policies that we have. Civil societies can also conduct research, right? Research is something that has to be ongoing.
It's key.
So we can be collecting data, we can be analyzing, we can be just providing an evidence-based for policies, that will drive action. So there's a lot of role that civil society can play, and CGID, we are very committed to this climate change project. Every year we commemorate the International Day of Forest with a tree planting campaign. So tomorrow we're going to be out in some select secondary schools in Abuja.
Yes, that is the question I was actually thinking of asking you.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to be out there in secondary schools planting trees and talking to the students. We're catching them young, right? What we have to do, and what I see in other countries, is that if we have the youth buy into this, right, we can secure the future. So if the people in the tertiary institutions, if the students in the secondary schools start putting value on this, in the next 10 years, these are the people who will be adults. These are the students who are going to be policymakers, right? If they get this value now, Nigeria has a better chance.
All right, thank you very much. Ifeanyi will go on a short break. And viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. We still have in the studio Ifeanyi Chukwudi. He's a Senior Program Manager Development at Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, CJID. And we're discussing reclaiming Nigeria's forest reserve in commemoration of World Forest Day, which is being marked on 21st of March every year. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Alia, you mentioned that deliberately what you intend to do tomorrow was to visit especially secondary schools. What about universities? There are quite a number around Abuja, and they have vast land. Maybe going forward, are you thinking of also putting them in your map to encourage them to plant trees?
Yes, indeed. So we have those plans. We're just saying that at the moment, the plans that we had finalized were with secondary schools, but we have activities with universities. We're constantly training them. We have various climate change trainings for
initiatives
for secondary school students and also university students. So we're driving awareness across board, and I'm sure by next year we'll probably have more universities in the mix.
Yes. What about institutions? Because Nigeria is a very funny country now. If you look at the institutions, colleges that are specifically dedicated to harnessing this potential, if you go, you see them dry, meaning that they are advocating what they are not practicing, even though their primary mandate is to actually lead by example. At your center, are you also thinking of maybe going forward, trying to tell them that, look, for you to get it right, you have to set it and live by example?
Yes, indeed. So we at the center, we're engaging public sector stakeholders, we're engaging government actors across board. We just concluded some stakeholder engagement last week, where we engaged with the various departments of government around reducing methane emissions. So we had a lot of government actors in the room, and it might interest you to know that a lot of these government agencies are actually doing some good work.
But why are they not talking? Because we as media people, we only talk about what we see, even though sometimes we try to unravel what is hidden. Yeah, but on the surface, if you are passing through some of these colleges, you don't see, deliberate activities towards reversing the problems affecting the environment.
So where I think the challenge is mostly in communicating the work that is being done. So I think across board, our government has a particular challenge with communicating what is being done. But from our various stakeholder engagement sessions, we see that the government is actually doing some good work. But the people are not aware. But we are constantly engaging, we're constantly trying to build capacity, we're constantly trying to provide the technical support we can provide, just to ensure that the government departments that are in charge of these areas are built, have the required capacity to get the job done. And we know that as civil society actors, we have a role to play, but the government sits at the driver's seat, right? The government has the responsibility to steer, to ensure that all the activities are aligned, all the interventions from donors, all the interventions from CSOs are aligned, and are moving in the same direction. In our country, we have a lot of donors and civil society actors that are with various programs and interventions around climate change, and they are all scattered here and there. So the government has that role to ensure that it's an alignment, and that's why we are constantly engaging.
Yes. Now, is there a direct correlation between harnessing the forest potential and addressing water, air, and soil pollution?
I will say yes.
Okay.
I'll say yes, there is, because the forests, if they are in good condition, also contributes to water quality and air quality. And if we do the needful, if we implement all the policies that we have to do to ensure that our forest, we conserve it, it's going to roll. There's a rolling effect,
Yes.
that will have on the quality of water and the quality of air.
Symbiotic relationship.
Exactly.
Of sort. Then, of course, this is something that we cannot stop. For instance, oil exploration. And we are doing it differently in Nigeria. You can see the discomfort, for instance, in Niger Delta. They said even the water is polluted, the forest is not flourishing, and all that. And this has to do with multiple factors: the oil exploration activity, the illegal mining, illegal exploration, and activities of multinational companies. Who will be the referee here now? Because if you are trying to address the forest issue while there is another elephant somewhere that is actually attacking both water, air, and the surface. Yeah.
So this is an age-old issue we've been discussing in Nigeria about the effect of the oil drilling and mining on the environment. So the effects, the impacts, they are mind-blowing, and I'm sure there are various interventions that have gone in to try to stabilize, especially the Niger Delta region, but we see these activities continue. But the issue is that we have to get our government to see that oil is not the future. That oil is not the future. So we are currently at the phase where the world is transitioning. The world is transitioning from fossil fuel, and it's no longer a question of if there should be a transition. The question now is how we conduct the transition. So if we're still here depending on fossil fuel and the world is moving, one day we're going to be left with our fuel in our hands with nobody interested in buying, right? So we have to get our government to see that oil is not the future, that we have to start embracing renewable energy. We have to reduce the oil drilling. We have to also reduce the illegal mining. The impact of illegal mining, if you see an illegal mining site, you see the child labor that is going on, you see the impact it has on women in these communities. These issues are mind-blowing, and it's part of the work that we're doing at the center. So we currently have a project where we're exploring opportunities to constrain corruption, right? So we're leveraging civic technology, leveraging open data and investigative journalism to reduce the opportunities for corruption in the mining sector, right? Because we have vast mineral resources, and we actually have mineral resources that should contribute to the just energy transition, right? So we know that we're moving towards renewable energy. So to produce the electric vehicles, the batteries that we need for the renewable energy transition, there are critical minerals that are required. Minerals like lithium, cobalt, graphite, and the rest. And studies have shown that these minerals are in numerous deposits in Africa, in Nigeria here, Ghana, Mozambique, Democratic Republic of Congo, and the rest. But these resources have not contributed to the energy transition, and they have not contributed to any economic prosperity for the host countries. And this is because our government is not paying enough attention to these issues. We're letting a lot of illegal mining go on.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere that in Nigeria, for instance, every year, $3 billion is being siphoned through illegal mining. I read that story like 2 times, trying to piece it up. Why is it difficult to actually moderate mining activities in Nigeria? Is it because the government is obsessed with oil, so they don't care about the other potential sources of generated revenue?
I don't think it's particularly difficult. Whatever the government sets their mind to do, they can get done.
They can do it.
I just think there are a lot of vested interests, that are benefiting from that value chain. And once the people who should take action are compromised in a certain way, once you have people who are interested in seeing the status quo remain, then we move nowhere. So we cannot, and again, we can't sit and say we are waiting for government to take action. There's action that civil society actors can take. There's action that citizens can take. And as I was just saying at the center, we're taking our action as well. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to build a green minerals open data portal, a portal where we will publish every data about green minerals in Nigeria. Now, green minerals, those are the minerals that
I'm hearing this, I don't know, maybe for the first time.
Green minerals are these minerals that are needed for the energy transition. So we'll say that we're moving away
like
from
the lithium you mentioned,
yes, which is cobalt.
Enough in Taraba, they say even in Nasarawa.
Yes. So these minerals, we need them for the just energy transition, right? And we're building this portal to provide data. What happens is that corruption thrives in secrecy, just like every other scene. Once people don't know what's going on, once people don't know who is benefiting from this, once people don't know how much has been disbursed, it's easy to do whatever you want. But once you shine the light, once everybody knows how much this costs, once everybody knows who is involved, then you're reducing the confidence, you're reducing the opportunities for people to go on with impunity. So we're going to be publishing all the mining sites, all the licenses that have been given, the beneficial owners. We'll put all of this information.
Whether they pay tax or not.
All of this information, the export data, how much we're making from this. We're also going to put out all the illegal mining sites. You can tap at this portal and find where all the illegal mining sites are going. You can see pictures. So it's a lot. And we're hoping that by leveraging this civic technology, by putting out data, we will play our own part, right, in ensuring that our government is able to constrain this.
Do you think harnessing the mineral sector using the right template will help mitigate the effect of problems around desertification, and all the degradation and all that?
Well, so definitely there are various ways that it can play out, right? But if we log and bridge the gap we have in the illegal mining sector,
yes,
we get more revenue for government. The country gets more prosperous. And with much more money we can put in funding into where it is needed. We can increase the financing for environmental challenges. We can increase the financing. We're in a tough spot economically, and Nigerians are paying. They are feeling the brunt of this. And the government is struggling. Where can we get money? Where can we make more money? So if we plug, you've just said that we lose about $3 billion to illegal mining.
Yes.
If we can plug those holes, if we can plug those gaps, the government can make more revenue, and we can channel these to issues that require urgent attention and financing. So we stand to gain a lot from addressing these issues.
We didn't give it the name blood money in Nigeria, but now if you go to places like Zamfara, I don't know, you do a lot of investigations, you innovate. Is there a correlation? Because it's actually a debate now. Some say no, there is no correlation between mining and banditry, mining and, killing with impunity all over the country. If you go to Kaduna, if you go to Zamfara, if you go to Plateau, you're having all these issues. What is the way forward to actually define and say, okay, this is where the problem is, and these are the culprits, and this is the way to solve the problem?
So it's a multifaceted challenge.
All right.
And they are all interlinked. So the issue of illegal mining and the sustenance of terrorism and conflicts, they're correlated. And we are also exploring this at the center, how the various licit and illicit economic activities sustain terrorism, sustain corruption, sustain conflict. So there are activities that have been built around these illegal operations that sustain banditry. We conducted an investigation, and we found that some of these illegal mining companies pay bandits.
How?
Pay bandits to allow their operations. we actually uncovered this, and it was mind blowing. So some of these companies that are mining illegally, they pay some money to bandits. They settle them to let them.
Is that why
sometimes
if you go into the forests, you now see fantastic companies. You see colored people there living in peace, going in and out, while local communities are being dislodged on a daily basis.
So it's interesting, and we know that money runs the world. So if these people see an opportunity in this illegal mining, you're encouraging them to continue the banditry, because by identifying yourself as a bandit, by showing your willingness to use force, you can make money. People can come and pay you to let them carry out the activities. So we find a case where communities have to pay for peace. Communities have to pay bandits to carry out activities. Communities have to pay even the military, to carry out the activities. So all of these activities, both the legal ones, the legal economic activities that have been built around these illegal activities, they all contribute to it and they sustain it.
In Democratic Republic of Congo, as I said, they call it blood money, right?
Yes,
but here,
it is blood money.
Here we just keep calling it banditry and all that. Meaning that somebody is shielding some people who are fueling some of these activities. What should be the role of the media now in stabilizing this existential problem?
So I see the role of the media as a shining light. So our role is to shine the light in darkness. I hope I don't sound like a preacher, but
no, it's okay, fair enough.
We just have to put the light on it. Where we see illegal activities going on, it's our work to call that out. It's our work to as unbiased as possible, as objective as possible, to say this is going on, right? And to put the pressure on people who have to act. So our work is to drive the discourse, is to drive the narratives, to shape the narratives. And these things are not things we can just do anyhow, right? It has to be data driven. It has to be pragmatic. It has to be robust. Our investigations have to, they cannot be shallow, right? So the media has a role to play, in shaping the narratives, driving awareness, ensuring that people know, right, the effects of these things, and are also well educated and equipped, to mitigate this challenge.
I visit a certain media-related outfit, and I saw some flower bars. I mean, with names. While going on the staircase, you see Ifeanyi, you see Hamza. You understand? Names like up to the offices. Then I asked the person, "What about this?" It's part of their contribution to sustaining the environment. Every employee there has a dedicated tree, and by the time it matures enough to be taken home or to be planted outside, they do that, and they continue to nurture it until it grows. Should this be a template everywhere? Maybe even at the family level, in schools, in offices. And
so it's something to be encouraged. Planting trees is something that has to be encouraged. Whether this model you've talked about or any other model that can be explored, we have to encourage it wholly. I go around town here in Abuja, in cities like Lagos, and you just see, you've just driven for so long and no tree in sight. Right? We have to encourage companies, we have to encourage real estate developers to ensure that they are also planting trees. Right? You can't have an estate and there's no tree in it. Right? So we have to encourage people to it's better for us. We have a lot to benefit from having this around. We know what the heat is like in Nigeria currently, right? If we plant more trees, we have a cooler environment.
Okay, your final word as we look forward to the World Forest Day.
Well, this is just to encourage everyone to put a value on the environment, put a value on the planet. If it matters to you, you'll protect it. If it matters to you, you'll preserve it. So take this opportunity of the International Forest Day to plant a tree. Take this opportunity to reach out to someone to say, keep our environment safe. Don't cut trees where you shouldn't cut. Plant trees if you can. Just do everything you can to ensure that we live in a world that is safe and we live in a world that is comfortable.
Thank you very much, Ifeanyi Chukwudi, Senior Program Manager Development at Center for Journalism Innovation and Development, CJID, for coming to the program and for sharing your thoughts about World Forest Day and how Nigeria can reclaim its forest reserve without actually going the governor's option of cutting down all the trees in order to chase away bandits. Thank you very much once again for coming. I will have to have you some other time.
Thank you very much.
And viewers, that's a wrap on today's package. We hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics, airing every weekday, and our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. For now, bye-bye from here. I'm Hamza Idris.